Hey, everybody. Welcome on back. It's the Rubbin is Racing podcast, the greatest, second, third, maybe fourth greatest NASCAR podcast in the world, and we'll take it. It's brought to you by Cabo Wabo Tequila, which I have right in front of me. The unquestionably Mexican tequila with the undeniably American attitude. And this isn't just tequila. No, it's damn good, thick cut, 100% Blue Weber agave tequila. And Cabo Wabo Tequila is still the official tequila partner of NASCAR. So add a bold splash to race day watching with Cabo Wabo Tequila. And if you're heading to a race this weekend, come celebrate race day with Cabo Wabo. But we want to remind you to leave the driving to the professionals. So please enjoy the thick cut, bold taste of Cabo Wabo Tequila responsibly. Whether you're mixing the Blanco or sipping the Añejo, you're going to have a good time. Grab your buds and a bottle of Cabo Wabo Tequila for the boldest race day experience. But you got to be 21 years or older, and you have to handle this stuff responsibly like you do any alcohol. But it's delicious. We continue to appreciate their support. Thank you, Cabo Wabo. Go get yourself one today. Boys, welcome back. Before I get off of Cabo Wabo, who the fuck was that who did the opening command for the Cabo Wabo 250 this? What a downgrade. Yeah. I'm not gonna shit on this gentleman just in case he survived something in World War II that I don't know about. He could be a real American hero, but he didn't bring the energy at all. He didn't bring that spider energy, that large little bit of a lag energy that I had. Did you see that shit, Spider?
Yeah, I regret that I did, to be honest with you, because I was curious to see who was going to follow it up after we were blessed to do that last year. Again, shout out Cabo Wabo for the opportunity. And I don't even think the person was associated with Cabo Wabo. I believe it was he was introduced as some sort of doctor. So okay. I'm not sure how the association, but he didn't even seem that excited to be there. So I don't know.
The opposite.
Yeah, exactly. It seemed like he was like kind of like stage fright or anxiety, which I understand public speaking is not for everyone, but at the same time, maybe pass the torch if that's how you feel. But yeah, the Xfinity race, I enjoyed. So Cabo Wabo 250 always, delivers, and this week was really no different from that.
Great race. And again, if this guy is a war hero, if this guy pulled a baby out of a well, if this guy developed some sort of, we thank you for your service, sir, you gentlemen, but don't do that shit again unless you bring your A game, because you certainly didn't. And Cabo Wabo 250 and deserves more because it's a great race. Again, Michigan is still put a pin in Michigan Speedway up in Brooklyn and Irish Hills. I think it's a destination that if you guys want to get hooked on NASCAR, it's one of those places that you should go. Just a geographic update. 800-pound gorilla in the room is Spider is camping. Spider is up at Camp Barstool. We're doing something where people are living in cabins and shit and going through that whole summer camp situation. And Spider, as always, whenever Barstool does anything wacky, they have Spider in there to try and put a tent over the circus, so to speak. So he's oftentimes a ref. At Rough and Rowdy, he's an everyman on top of being the ringside camera who's going to get thrown off the apron. And that's what you're doing here. You're kind of like one of the camp counselors, Spider. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I would say I'm more of an official. As you said, I'm oftentimes a ref, and I think this week will be no different. Sounds like we got a couple challenges lined up today. I'm reporting and recording live from Rhinelander, Wisconsin, the home of Xfinity driver Parker Retzlaff. And I'm pumped to be here at Camp Barstool this week. So a lot of cool stuff coming this week, and by the time you're watching this, you will have seen some of it. So if you haven't, go back and watch Camp Barstool. A lot of fun activities, tug of war, rock climbing. I think Jerry After Dark has to catch a fish and light a fire. So a lot of good spicy content coming out of Camp Barstool, and I'm glad Rubbin is Racing is one of those pieces as well. So I appreciate everyone bearing with me as I report live from the golf cart this week.
You think Jerry After Dark will ever run out of stuff and 10 years from now it's going to be like Jerry's got to blow a homeless guy? Or do you think there's a lot of this stuff that he can do to sort of fill in the blanks? I'm hoping it doesn't get to that, to be quite honest with you.
I think he just needs to keep diversifying the people that he speaks with, because upon coming to summer camp, the head camp counselor, the director of camp, rattled off like 5 or 6 ideas, and I was very impressed with his ability to just off the fly come up with
it is an evergreen concept. It's like just take things that other people do that they're good at and make their life and try to do it in one night.
Yeah.
and do it like successfully.
Yeah, I mean, it's limitless. You can do down to like some stuff that we've had ideas for with the iRacing content, which is coming very soon. But there, you can really apply that kind of formula to any asset of anything. One of the camp director's recommendations was a rope burn. So basically, you have to start a fire on the ground, and you have to build the fire high enough to burn the rope hanging across the fire, maybe 6 feet off the ground, which I thought would be cool. Seeing Jerry try to do that. We also last night at camp constructed a fire using flint, which I was really impressed by. Take a couple city boys out into the woods and see what we're capable of.
So we're the
I
cavemen.
will tell you, I just got back from a glamping trip with the family, and footed tub, a couple of like 2 zones of air conditioning in it, a couple of TVs in each one of these like lavish tents. So my kids are on the impression that they went camping. They didn't. They just stayed in a canvas hotel.
I need to ask you about the snapping turtle video, Large. What happened there? The guy that was one of the funniest videos I saw.
It was infectious for most people. Like, it was one of those ones you could watch 1,000 times. People are like, oh, I'm on season 20 of this clip. Yeah, we were driving along. We're up in Roscoe, New York. Shout out Roscoe Campsites up there. They did a great job with me and my family. Honestly, we felt like, Arab sheiks. And we're driving from a grocery store, and we casually see a gigantic turtle just kind of struggling to get across the way. And I said, oh, that's a snapping turtle. The big neck, the smaller shell, the longer tail. I had a walking stick with me. I went over while either my daughter or my son was taping to lift this thing up. It's amazing how far they can get their necks back around. And so it snapped at me. After it took a chunk out of my walking stick, it took a snap at me. So I was like, fuck it, let it die. The guy who was behind me, I wasn't going to let it die. I was going to take my walking stick and sort of hockey stick it kind of off the road. Some old dude behind me gets out and tries to white knight me in front of my kids. Oh, I'll do it. You know what I mean? I'm like, no, sir, I'll get it. You don't have to. You can get back in your car. And instead he bends down, and sure enough, he fucking almost takes a header into the guardrail. But I had the walking stick, and the walking stick was dangerously close to where his feet were. So people are on the impression that I tripped an old dude. Either way, maybe we can show it on this if Manoli wants to mix it in. But it's one of the highlights of my life. So I like the fact that he fell down. I did go over to offer to pick him up, and he said, no, I get up a special way. So he's been on the floor before. So I just sort of let him do his thing. And that was it. Moonhead, you want to bet this weekend?
I did. I took, man, I was on quite the losing streak, and I took Suarez top 10, and it paid off.
Hell yeah.
I should. Yeah. I honestly had considered taking Reddick to win, and I didn't because thought it would fail, and look what happened.
I got Tyler Reddick this weekend without even realizing I did.
Oh,
did you?
Yeah, watched the whole race, and I was like telling people, I was like, if I was gonna tell somebody on like after the Sunday got canceled and into the Monday, I was like, if I was gonna tell somebody to bet someone, it'd be Tyler Reddick, just for the value. Basically, I like Bubba a lot, and I was like, you can get Reddick at twice the odds, and I didn't think I put it in, but then I looked after the race, I won $450, and I was like, oh, I guess I did put it in.
Did you grab Martin or no?
I did. I had to do Monday Martin.
Shit odds on that, though, right? I mean,
really
because
bad.
There's already that premium built in for him racing on Monday, so he's like a plus 600 or 700 driver who then goes down to 350 just because of the day of the week.
Yeah,
you know
I just put a little bit on it because the odds sucked, but I always have a thing where Monday you got to bet Martin.
You have to.
I threw
a little bit on Chase. Go ahead.
The great people at DraftKings had another 33% profit boost this week for NASCAR, which I didn't see till Sunday morning, but I put it on Christopher Bell. I think I got him like 18 or 19 to 1. So that price for C Bell I had to take, but in hindsight, obviously I wish I would have went Reddick.
Yeah. All right. So outside of that, we were here last week and we were talking about Austin Dillon for a good percentage of the day. Thank you again to Ross Chastain for coming on, and we peppered him with questions about the Austin Dillon situation before any of the fines or punishments were laid down. So it was tough for him, right? I mean, tough for him to really comment on it. Wasn't tough for other people. A lot of people who traditionally aren't as vocal, were pretty vocal on that. So it was a big deal. I'm just going to give you an update. They are appealing this, RCR and Austin Dillon. And I'm just going to read you the quote that Austin Dillon had given. I've got to be careful. This is the quote. I've got to be careful with what I give out right now for the appeal process because it's going to be like a trial. It really is, and wish everybody could see it. Television would be cool in there because I haven't really given my entire story of the game yet. That's what he said. I haven't given my side of the story, essentially. I feel like Denny did a really good job on his podcast giving his side of the story adamantly this week, so I'm going to do my best to get RCR in the playoffs where they need to be, where they deserve to be currently, and from there I will give all the media and everybody else my exact feelings after that's all said and done and over with. So that's Austin Dillon. So apparently this appeal process, he's comparing it more to a trial. If you go to the other side of that, I don't know, the fines and whatnot, Joey Logano just simply mailed in the check for $50,000. He said he'd gotten a link to like a PNC bank. If you want to race this week, send $50,000 to this. I think he confirmed that it wasn't some Nigerian prince, and he sent $50,000 and he was able to go racing in Michigan. Do you guys think there's any shot that Austin Dillon is a playoff driver? Do you think there's any shot? I mean, he's not going to, if he doesn't win a race, obviously. Do you think that there's any shot this appeal gets over, like it overturns his punishment?
Well, that's a two-part question. I think there is a decent chance that Austin Dillon is a playoff driver, to be honest with you. If you look at some of the success Austin Dillon has had, it's come at plate tracks. Also, same can be said about RCR themselves, especially on the Xfinity side. I know we're talking about cup racing, but if there's a spot where we can get a true, out of the wood winner, and it wouldn't be like, unheard of, like what we saw from Austin Dillon last week, this would be the spot for it. So I don't know. I also think that RCR's kind of looked better. Kyle Busch had to have looked pretty good this past Sunday. So I'm kind of encouraged by what I'm seeing out of them recently. So I think it is possible that he is a playoff driver. And I think it might be possible for them to overturn it, to be honest with you, too. I mean, I don't think they will. I think it's very small chance, but it sounds like Austin feels very confident with whatever case or whatever maybe unknown piece of information RCR is sitting on. And that, to me, I don't know. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he maybe has like a smoking gun or something. I don't know what it could possibly be, but I feel like you can't really have that much confidence about something getting overturned without knowing more than what we know. So I'm interested to see how it plays out.
Yeah, he's live. I mean, he's a live pick if you want to. He won the Coke Zero Sugar 400 in 2022.
Right.
So he definitely has the opportunity to make the playoffs then. But you're saying as far as from the appeal process, you think there's a chance. You think there's a chance that NASCAR could overturn this. I'm not sure if I agree. I'm not sure if I disagree because of the arbitrary nature. You have low chance. Okay.
Yeah.
Quincy, what do you think?
I don't think there's any other side to the story that NASCAR is going to care about. I think it's, you look at the video, he took people out. They don't want people taking people out to get into the playoffs, and I just don't think he's got a shot. Like, what could come out that would make the appeal go through? Like, what info?
He puts the what was it, like from Scent of a Woman? He puts the system on trial. Hey, listen, you created a system where this has to be done, right? And then there's this arbitrary nature to your decision where I get to keep the win, but I get to keep the purse, but I don't get the playoff berth. Like, it seems like this is kind of arbitrary. So if that's arbitrary, maybe I can get the fuck out of it. Like, when you're making up rules as they go along, you can't go back to any kind of precedent. It's when this guy comes out and says he crossed the line, but that line isn't clearly defined sometimes, or it's vaguely defined, I should say, maybe he has a shot. I don't know. I think I'm on Team Spider saying there is a slim chance that just because of the arbitrary nature of these decisions, maybe it gets overturned. I don't want to see that now because that would be a heartbreak for a couple of these drivers who are fighting to stay in. And we got a really interesting fight for that 16th spot right now. I think Chastain and Bubba are separated by 2 points. It's a really interesting thing. And then that gets kind of blown out of the fucking water. Moon, what do you think? You think there's a shot this gets overturned?
No, I'm with Quiggs. I think Spider has a better chance of winning the Daytona 500 next year than Austin Dillon has
I
at
like the
winning this
sounds of
appeal.
that. Though,
There
that's
is
cool with me.
absolutely no way he comes out of this with any less penalties that he's got.
Okay. So
I
that's
think he would have
Go
to.
ahead.
He would have to run it up to like the Supreme Court, and NASCAR would literally have to be demanded to be like overturned by like some high power because I think that, like Quigg said, I don't know what possibly any smoking gun or piece of evidence that he is alluding to could potentially be, and then I agree with Large, whereas like part of me feels like at this point it's been dragged out 2 weeks. Like we need to turn the corner, especially with the playoffs kind of being sorted out and people trying to figure out their positioning in said playoffs. You got to make a hard and fast decision. And I almost feel as though the rule book needs to be changed, which again is a whole nother conversation for a different time. But I'm of the opinion. I kind of agree with that too. But what Austin Dillon did in real time, it wasn't dirty, yes, but it was within the rules for us to say after the fact, like, did he cross some invisible line? I mean, sure, yeah, I'll hear the conversation, but it's just a dangerous game we're playing. So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go. I think it's in everyone's best interest to just put it behind us and move on, as exciting of a finish as it was.
I won't let it go. I won't fucking let this thing go. And you're right, Spider. They have been racing a lot better. I mean, Austin Dillon was going to win that race last week if there wasn't that late, yellow come out. So,
which, by the way,
well,
last thing on the Austin Dillon thing. Do we think that Stenhouse and Stenhouse is like, it was a long con and he dumped Priest when Austin had the lead late in the race to make RCR's job even harder? Do I have a tinfoil hat on? What's your guys' temperature on that?
I don't think so, but just the timing of it opened, like, I don't blame anyone for like questioning it, I guess, but I don't think so.
Yeah, NASCAR has a natural Zapruder filmish thing to it where you can pick things apart after the fact, but it's such a split-second exact science that these guys are doing down there.
Right.
I don't know. So if there is any kind of collusion, it seems like people would know about it. I feel that way normally whenever somebody talks about fixing a game in modern times, or Jake Paul paying somebody to take a dive. That gentleman would be able to make more money telling you about how Jake Paul paid him to take a dive than what Jake Paul paid him to take a dive. Like, I think, the collusion part, I love talking about it. Believe me, I'm a tinfoil hat guy myself. But I know that we want to move past this. I will never move past this. I will give the media and everybody else my exact feelings after that's all said and done and over with, and I haven't really given my entire story of the game yet. It's intriguing to me. So we'll have to just wait and see, as usual, and see what NASCAR does. But meanwhile, they were like, the spotter, we don't give a fuck. We're not repealing that. He's gone. And then Logano mailed in a check. I'm starting to feel bad for Joey Logano, man.
You know what? I also got a take on that.
Go.
Joey, I mean, listen, I understand you're a professional driver, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. His defense was, we're all professional drivers. Dude, we know that. Obviously, that's why we're watching you. Like, for him to be like, oh, everyone's safe because we're pro-drive, like, I don't know. That defense was just non-existent. I'm not hearing that case if I'm an attorney, or a judge, rather. I'm not an attorney. I think that's a bad defense that he had, was like, we're all pros. Okay, you wreck how many times? How many big ones did we see on Sunday? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think that's a bad defense. I do feel bad with Joey, though. I mean, obviously, like he said in his interview, and I am very empathetic of, we're human. Like, I lost my temper. Like, that. I mean, I don't know. I get it. I get that he was upset, understandably.
He said it's like somebody broke into his house, and then he came home, and they were on his front lawn celebrating with his shit. Like, I thought that was
a good analogy.
And so, to your point, he didn't have any chance on the appeal process, so he just cut the fucking check. He kind of admitted that what he did was wrong. I mean, he gave some justification or some trying to talk people down about how he's a professional, he's always in control of his car and whatnot. But he had to.
I just think that's a horrible. Large. We watched two of the best drivers in the world, not Max Verstappen. We'll get to that. Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin spin themselves on Sunday, and single car spins. Those are the best guys in the world. I'm not discrediting them. I'm saying mistakes happen, and even the best in the world are not above mistakes. So I don't like that defense out of Joey, and I'm a little bit less feeling bad for him because I feel like, some of the penalty is warranted. I hate it for a guy that I like rooting for, yes, but I also understand why he reacted the way he did.
Yeah. All right, let's go to what had happened this week, headlines and rumors. AJ Allmendinger is back in Cup for Kaulig. He's running fifth in the standings for the Xfinity Series. What's your take on this? I mean, when AJ was kind of knocked down to Xfinity last season and then coming back up, it seems like he's playing it as just, I'm a company guy. Wherever they want me, I'll go. He's got a couple of wins. I mean, he's a great teammate and whatnot, it seems, from the outside. But was that disrespectful? Maybe can I start with that? Was that disrespectful what they did to AJ, especially now that they're kind of reversing it after a year and putting him back in Cup? Like, how do you feel right now if you're an AJ Allmendinger fan or AJ Allmendinger yourself?
I don't know.
Moon, why don't you take it first? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the full story. I mean, I don't know that AJ, maybe he didn't want to go back to Xfinity. Maybe he enjoyed that. Maybe he wanted a year off. I know he won the Roval and had a kid around the same time. Last time he was running Cup races a lot. So I don't know. Maybe he wanted to go back and now he wants to come back up. I don't know. So I don't know. Like, I feel like Kaulig thinks very highly of AJ, and I feel like they use him as almost a tool to just insert somewhere and make themselves better. And obviously things haven't gone great for him on the Xfinity side, away from SVG kicking ass on road courses here lately. But also we've seen him kind of struggle outside of a handful of goofy races where Hemrick was able to survive and come up through the field. So I think, I don't know. I don't think AJ would be bitter about anything. I don't know. Really, like I said, I don't know the full situation there, but I do think it's the right move. I think it'll be good to see AJ back. I enjoy watching him race, and I think he can compete for wins. Like, he's a very, very underrated Cup Series driver, I feel like, just because of all the ups and downs in his career.
So I think it's a good thing. We all agree we want him back in the Cup, right? I mean, he's a good guy. I think you're, like, to your point, Moonhead, he's a great wheelman. I just wonder why he did get that. It looked like a slap on the wrist. I don't think he's one of these guys who brings a bunch of sponsors with him necessarily, because I know Kaulig does, sponsor his cars for the most part, or at least a good percentage of the time. So he kind of has to do what they say, right? He doesn't have that as much as a bargaining chip, but he does have as a bargaining chip, hey, I'm a very good driver. So I'm glad that he's back in the Cup Series. I wish he was more successful down at Xfinity. It'd be nice if he did like a Cole Custer, went back down to Xfinity, won a championship, and then came back up, So the Xfinity season isn't over yet, so I'm wishing him best of luck for the rest of that thing and beyond, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him back next year. I think we can all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Haas factory team, Xfinity, Sheldon Creed is jumping into 00. That's going to be left vacant from Cole Custer going up to Cup, and Sam Mayer will wheel the 41 next season. This was expected. I think definitely the Sheldon Creed part was expected. There were some other people who may have been up for that seat. I know Haley Deegan's name was thrown in there for a hot minute. These are good moves for both these guys, right? And Haas Factory looks like they're going to be – that's a stout lineup.
It's a stacked
not knowing
team.
If they, you know what I mean? Isn't that a good team going into next year? Yeah.
It sounded like Custer, I believe, is Cole's father, who runs the show over there. I think he sounded very encouraged by the addition of those two, which I think is as good of an Xfinity lineup as you can want. I do have some concerns, though. I mean, my guy Sheldon Creed, Large and I are both big fans of him. He's getting passed around like a joint at a Bob Marley concert. I mean, this guy's on his third team in 3 years. I hope he can find some stable footing and get in victory lane and get some wins under his belt before he moves up. But I'm encouraged. I think my biggest takeaway from all this is that it shores up a couple other rumors that may be going around. And I'm not saying this 100% with confidence, but it sounds to me like for a minute there, Sam Mayer was rumored for the front row open seat. Now I'm of the opinion that ride is Zane Smith's to lose, especially with Sam Mayer signing with the Haas factory team. I think that pretty much all but confirms that Zane Smith will be returning to front row and be in the third car for them next year. And there was another driver. Oh, Ryan Preece. I think that Ryan Preece would have had a seat at the table with the Haas Xfinity team. Again, this is my opinion. This is not based off any knowledge that I'm privy to. But with that car going to someone else, I think that Ryan Preece may have an opportunity with the RFK maybe if there's any move there in the third car. So we'll see what happens. I hopefully Ryan Preece can remain on the Cup Series, but I don't know. It's interesting. I think the silly season carousel continues to spin, and it's exciting to see kind of how the chips fall.
We had mentioned last week, because he came across the tape as we were recording, that Eric Jones had signed a long-term deal with Legacy. Quiggs was not happy about that, so I'm not going to mention it again. I'll mention briefly, Kurt Busch got in trouble, got another DWI. He got in North Carolina. It seems like almost an impossible thing for Kurt Busch to get. You know,
you can get DUIs in North Carolina.
63 and a 45, and you're Kurt Busch, and you kind of say, all right, I'll follow you home just to make sure everything's okay. I mean, I'm not saying that it's a forgivable offense, and I know that Kurt's going to go through the proper counseling and whatnot to get himself back on the right track, and I hope he does, because I think he's a great a great face man for Monster and for 2311. He's a fun guy to fucking hang out with. So hopefully he gets his shit back on the right track. I think if you're Sean Quigley and you're speeding through Mooresville doing 63 and a 45, you know, maybe even get a finger stuck up your ass before you get thrown in a fucking prison cell. But Kurt Busch, you don't think Kurt Busch gets away with that down there? I don't know.
He should have just used Joey Logano's defense and said I was a professional driver, and he probably would have been, exonerated right there in real time.
You would be surprised. I mean, Mooresville is a little bit different, but you'd be surprised how many people in Charlotte and North Carolina, like, racing is not in their world at all.
Really?
Growing up, I grew up in Charlotte, just right outside of Charlotte, and I went my entire growing up life with having no friends, anyone I knew really interested in NASCAR.
Really?
Yeah.
And okay. So where is the hotbed? Is it because Charlotte's the big city, so you need to go outside a little bit?
I mean, it's also like who you're hanging out with, and there's definitely people that I could have made friends that were into NASCAR and stuff like that. But it's not a given everywhere that people are into NASCAR in North Carolina. If you kind of thought it was,
But is it because your Venn diagram is NASCAR and then liberal stuff, and they don't really cross?
I'm too liberal to have NASCAR friends.
You might be too liberal for NASCAR.
Maybe,
that might
and
be,
well, Moonhead, did you grow up in North Carolina or no?
No, I've only lived here for a year and a half.
Yeah, I would think if Moonhead did, he'd probably have more friends that were into it than me.
What's that supposed to be?
I don't know. That was a shot across your bow.
That was a little bit. I think it's true though.
No, it's definitely true. 100% true.
I'm going to go around the room. Spider, Kyle Larson says he's a better overall driver than Max Verstappen. Better overall driver, right?
Yeah.
Meaning, whatever. True or false? Is that a true statement by Kyle? By the way, that's a very cocky statement, and he did say it. This isn't something that was taken out of context. He had said that out loud in front of a microphone. Is Kyle Larson a better driver than Max Verstappen?
In my opinion, it's not even close. I'm taking Kyle Larson. My guy had a 1-year hiatus of NASCAR. What'd he do? He went to dirt tracks across the country and showed his talent for, small select few that were in attendance there. So I think Larson has done multiple disciplines of racing, and he's one of the GOATs. What up, Big Cat?
Oh, there's the Big Cat. Boys? What's up, brother?
Hey, are you team Kyle Larson or team Big Cat? Excuse me, Kyle Larson or Max Verstappen? If you had to pick one driver, who's a better driver?
Kyle Larson.
Hell yeah.
Easy.
W answer.
Yeah.
W answer from Big Cat. I'm glad he confirms my opinion. But yeah, Kyle, I'm privy to at least. I'm not super familiar with Max as a driver, but all I know about F1 is he wins 90% of the races. That's boring. It seems kind of arranged almost. Like it used to be Lewis Hamilton won every single race, and now it's Max's turn. Whereas Kyle Larson, I feel like he earns every single win he gets on the racetrack. And as much as I said he spun himself earlier this on Sunday rather, he's still one of the best drivers in the world. He's proven it across different motorsports, whether it be dirt racing, whether it be the Cup Series. I don't know. He's my guy. He even did it in lesser equipment when he was racing for Ganassi. So to me, it's Kyle Larson easily. And I can't wait to hear what you guys who are way more knowledgeable or of the opinions of.
Thank you. More knowledgeable.
Spider, would you think that Max Verstappen would have got loose this weekend at Michigan and took out like 3 or 4 cars, collected him, or Kyle? Because
Max only participates in races where he can win by 3 laps, and everyone just sucks him off after it. So yeah, I'm big team NASCAR on this one.
That's a second reference we've made to sucking another man off at this podcast. We're only a couple minutes into it, so I'll pose that question almost similar, but I'm going to give you the other side. We're biased, I think, right? On this podcast. Does an F1 fan have a leg to stand on if he wants to argue that Max Verstappen, as my man Zal behind you, if Max Verstappen is the better of the 2 drivers? Does a Formula One guy, Quiggs or Moon, do they have a leg to stand on?
I guess they have a bias, like same bias as us, a bias leg to stand on, where they can just, their argument can be, this guy is the most, like,
forget that I lived in Winston-Salem.
Sorry, I got distracted. But they could just say, like, he's the most dominant driver in the biggest racing series in the world. He's the best driver in the world, blah, blah, blah. But I'm on the Kyle Larson side. I think if you, other than an F1 car and an Indy car, if you drop them in 2 cars for a race, Kyle Larson's probably winning almost all those races, no matter what series, type of car, other than what Verstappen specializes in.
We need Olympic racing is really what it comes down to for me. I would like to see some sort of discipline like that, where the cars are maybe their own, like create a car. I want something completely new where it's like everyone's on the level playing field, and let's find out. There's no reason why we should sit here and have to talk about it. We should be talking about what we saw 2 weeks ago on the Olympics with some auto racing. That's my opinion. But it's Larson by a mile, by 2 laps, by more than what Max wins on any given race.
Laps the field.
In that funny little series.
What do you say, Moon?
I'm Team Larson. I get why the F1 people feel the way they do. I honestly feel like NASCAR fans are like some of the only racing fans who will actually, I see a lot of them making the case that Larson isn't, like, and I don't get that. I feel like we should want our guy to be the best in the world. And I think if we put Verstappen against a lot of people from a lot of disciplines of racing and made them go head to head across several different forms of racing on different tracks and in different cars, I don't think he'd even be close. I feel like he doesn't race enough. I mean, hell, even SVG can rip in 410 sprint cars, and we've seen what he can do. I feel like he's in the conversation before Verstappen.
How cool would that be? Like Moon, a podium where like those are your 3 getting medals is like Verstappen, Larson, and SV. Like, everywhere in the world would be represented. I think that, well, maybe not everywhere, but you know what I mean. I think that would be really cool. So I stand on Olympics.
No disrespect to Verstappen either, because I know
Why not? Why no disrespect to Verstappen? Why the fuck does Verstappen get respect on this show? If you want me to go first, fuck Max Verstappen. I think that Tyler Reddick is a better fucking driver than him. I think that there are a number of people who come from different disciplines and have done well in Cup Series, trucks, Xfinity. They've run late mile, all this kind of thing. I think a lot of people are. I think that if Kyle Larson and Max Verstappen got on big wheels to go 50 yards, I think Kyle Larson beats him. So you don't have to show any respect here. Remember, this is an American fucking broadcast. Let's keep that in mind. Don't bring up SVG again, or I will cut your fucking mic.
Okay.
And 2, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I really do want. I guess the thing is, I know that he makes more money than God, and gets to live on whatever island he probably lives on, and is bound by all these contracts with Red Bull where there's no way he could be allowed to race like Kyle Larson does. Like, the fact that somebody like Kyle Larson is allowed to race what he does as frequently as he does is really crazy, because a lot of owners and teams would not allow their drivers to do that. So I also think it's probably not fair for somebody like me to sit here and say, oh, Verstappen doesn't race anything other than F1 and the occasional whatever, because he's not really allowed to. And I feel like he'd probably be an idiot to pursue all that, and tarnish his reputation as one of the best race car drivers in the world, because that's what would happen. And 2, it would piss the people who pay him all this money and give him fast race cars off. So I get why he doesn't do it, but I think anybody who thinks that he's the best race car driver in the world is delusional.
It would
Hear me out
blow
on
up.
this.
It would blow up the world if you got that together, Spider. If you got Max Verstappen head to head in 3 or 4 Olympic heats, I don't know how the hell you would do it.
Yep.
I think it would be the most watched motorsports event in quite some time.
Here's a happy medium, Large.
Go.
We're gonna, and I know Max Verstappen frequents the iRacing servers. I've heard it it's long rumored amongst many of my friends that use iRacing. Oh, you play with Max Verstappen? I seen him on. He joined my race the other day.
Uh-huh.
Let's get both of them. If we can't do Olympics, we can't set this up in real life, sponsorship, injury concerns, whatever it may be. Let's do it virtually on iRacing. I think that's close enough happy medium.
Spider,
actually,
is
I
there
don't
a
know.
regular type iRacing event that happens every week that you would think that maybe they'd be best put on?
Yes. Honestly, I think Max Verstappen and Kyle Larson, the only way to settle this is either Rough and Rowdy or Moon Car. I think they should join Moon Car's next broadcast, and maybe, I don't know, we go from there. Start them at the back and just watch them cut through the field and see who can do the best.
I'll fight SVG on the undercard, just so you know. I won't get in a fucking simulator, but I'll get in there. I don't know how I'm going to dope his water bottle or whatever, but I'll make sure that I win. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe who should I challenge? Like Justin Haley? I need like a Nick Sanchez type beat. I don't know, a small guy.
You and Tyler Reddick
Mark
would be kind of a
Martin.
nice little. Yeah, get Mark Martin. I'm going to get to that in a
would be
second. By the way, do
that would
not
be too
fucking
Logan
jump.
Paul.
Yeah. LA is out. Bowman Gray is in next season for the Clash. This is good news, right? I mean, everyone seems to be pretty happy about this. I don't know if it's following what the Clash is trying to do, like bring NASCAR to different markets by bringing it to the Madhouse. I don't know if that's what the Clash sets out to do, but maybe because we have other international locations on the schedule potentially, or non-traditional places like Chicago and whatnot. Maybe that's what's filling the need to kind of get out to new markets, so they can go to some places traditional as Bowman Gray. How do you guys feel? What are the chances we're at that, Spider, next year? Because I think it's only, somebody correct me, is there less than 20,000 seats at Bowman Gray? I believe it's like 17,000.
So.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. I don't know nothing about Bowman Gray other than, again, it's like in NASCAR lore with like, hey, let's go back there, or nostalgia talking about it. But I'm excited for this. I don't know that we'll be there. I would like to be. I mean, I've never been there, and I'm always down to go to new places I've never been. So I think it'd be really cool. There's a lot of stuff shaping up in the 2025 calendar that I'm pumped for, whether it be a baseball game at a NASCAR track in Bristol, or something like this, a race at Bowman Gray at a track I've never been to, or let alone watched a race at. So I'm very excited. And then, Large, to your point, and you mentioned it, and I think, again, this is all Spider's brain and no concrete facts I need to preface, but I think the addition of the Clash moving could maybe mean what you said, with that they are exploring international destinations for the Cup Series, because I don't know, maybe they want to try new different stuff, and I think there might be some truth to that. Hopefully, I'm hoping, because I would love to see Bowman Gray, the Clash at Bowman Gray, and then who knows, maybe Mexico City, maybe Montreal, maybe Brazil. I know it seemed like NASCAR was flirting with that after the Suarez wedding there. Who knows? But I'm excited for the schedule that will be 2025.
Craigs, would you go to Bowman Gray with me?
Yeah, let's do it. First race of the season. I'll be there.
I mean, honestly, when we went to the Clash 2 years in a row, no, did we go both years, Spider?
Yeah, we did. We went the first year, and then the second year we were there with Lalo and Gilly.
Right.
And Jeff D. Lowe, yeah.
And then I was like, I think it's enough. We don't need to go back to. By the way, it's very expensive to have all those engineers and build a racetrack for a couple of hours essentially and kind of get it out. So this makes more sense, I think, financially. I know because the start of the season is Daytona. I know the teams hated going across country to LA just to come back to Daytona to start this. So it's solving a lot of problems financially, logistically, and nostalgically. I think people who are NASCAR fans like to see the return there. Moonhead, have you been to Bowman Gray? Is this where is it at now? Maybe in comparison to North Wilkesboro, because we kind of so the Cup Series hasn't run in Bowman Gray in 54 years. That's a fucking fact. And but North Wilkesboro had like weeds sprouting out in the fucking bleachers. Bowman Gray is still a very, very used weekly track and whatnot. Talk to us about what the experience is like going to Bowman Gray and what you think it's going to be like now that it's got a Cup race back for the first time in over a half a century.
It's insane, honestly. Okay. The weekly stuff there is crazy. People will chase each other down and hit each other head on under caution if they feel like they were wronged. They will get out of the car and run up to the flagman and yell at people. I've seen fans throw objects. I've seen people come out of the stands and get arrested. I've seen chain racing, like demo derby style, where a guy wasn't even wearing seatbelts, and when he hit, he just jumped out of the car and they all climbed out and started fighting on an active racetrack.
Really?
A guy got pile drove, actually. He got flipped over the car. This place is insane. People get arrested. People get stabbed. I don't think we'll see any of that at the Cup race there. Right. I mean, maybe we will. I hope we do, but I really don't think we will. But it's going to be cool. It's going to be a lot like what we saw at the Coliseum. I just think it's shaped a little different. I think it'll produce a little bit more chaos, definitely a little more narrow. But it's right here. It's like 45 minutes from Mooresville. It's close to all the teams. They don't have to drive across the country, because what the Clash really sucked for were the teams that go out there and make like a total of 9 laps, and then that was just their Clash. They had to load up and drive 2,000 miles back home. So I think this is going to solve that. There's probably going to be logistical hurdles, but that place draws a ginormous crowd for a weekly show, and I don't think they can really fit that many more people in there where they can sell more tickets for a NASCAR thing. So I don't think it'll be anything that they're not prepared for. And overall, I'm really excited. I think it's cool. Bowman Gray. It gets a bad rap because of all the nonsense I just told you that's awesome about it, but it also can put on a very, very good show with the modifieds and really all divisions there at some point will put on a good show throughout the year. And I think the Cup race will be very, very entertaining.
I've tried to, I haven't been reading Yelp reviews, but I've been listening to people talk about, even with all the madness, and I did a deep dive on this guy, Bobby Myers, who's the master of the Madhouse, and his son, Chocolate Myers, which I think is a great fucking nickname. He was a pit crew for Dale Earnhardt, Chocolate Myers. But what people are saying about Bowman Gray, which is important to people who are going to go down and visit, like Spider and I will do so often, they really get you in and out of there quickly. Like the parking is great, getting in and out of Bowman Gray is great, because we know what that can do for people. Spider, we saw it at Pocono where people didn't make it there till stage 2, because of traffic for whatever reason. There were hurricanes around or whatever bullshit you want to say. So I think this is seeming like a home run, particularly if NASCAR has decided to use that. We want to get to different markets by taking us also to Montreal and Mexico City. And right now, Montreal's number 1 on my list. I'd love to go up to fucking Montreal, more so than just about any other place to watch a race. All right, before we move on from headlines, this is the last one. Gucci Mane needs to pay Spider. I don't understand how the fuck this is happening. Why is that wrong? Why is that wrong?
It's so wrong.
The intro to the thing. The only
I know,
reason
and that's
Mark
so cool.
Martin did that is because it was our fucking podcast. The only reason Mark Martin had mentioned Gucci Mane is because Spider fucking asked him about it. Spider's voice leads the song. It starts with Spider.
The first song.
What? The first song on the album.
I know, but that's so cool that you don't need money for that.
You're a fucking idiot. Who's that fucking cool for? Do you think Spider thinks it's cool enough that he should be getting a residual for every fucking one that goes off on
I think
iTunes?
he does. Spider, what do you think? You think he should be getting paid for that? I don't.
Here's where I stand. Would I have approved, well, I guess I did. I approved it knowing I wasn't going to get paid. So I more so wanted this to come to fruition. It ain't about getting paid. Actually, honestly, I feel like if there's one thing I'm going to take credit for, it's that I provided some joy with Mark Martin in his life. And I'm not, and the context is important. Obviously, all I did was ask him a question, and Gucci took it and ran with the great sound bite that Mark Martin provided. But he seemed like a kid on Christmas the day after this drop. He was on Twitter, and everyone in the NASCAR community rallied around him. Everyone was so excited for him. They knew how much it meant to him, and it truly seemed like it was substantial and meant a lot to him. I can't say it means that much to me. I shouldn't say that. It means tremendous amount to me. Not as much as it did to Mark. Like, there are levels to this. I need people to understand. Mark was like giddy and, euphoric. And don't get me wrong, I was pumped to be on a Gucci Mane album as well. I never saw this coming, but not nearly as much as Mark Martin. So I'm glad that he, it's like one of his. That's his white whale, and now he has that thing forever. So I'm glad we could get that clip out of it. I don't think I should be paid. If he wants to run me a check. If Gucci wants to run me some Gucci, I'm cool with that. Give me a Gucci jumpsuit, something like that. Gucci, if you're listening, we appreciate you. We love you. Thanks for your support.
Well, I'm working backwards. For people who don't know or weren't paying attention, Gucci Mane released maybe a new album. I don't really give a fuck. And one of the first tracks on this new album, the intro, is our interview with Mark Martin saying how much he enjoyed Gucci Mane, how he had to download his stuff on DatPiff, which drove everybody fucking crazy, the whole deal. So the song starts off with a clip from that interview, and it starts off with Spider. You can hear me, I think, cough in the background, but with Spider and Mark Martin, and then it goes right into the song. It's the intro. So, Quigs, I'm going to ask you then, and Spider had alluded to this. If he's not going to get 6 cents every time somebody downloads this on iTunes, don't you think he should be sent at least a nice piece of jewelry? Something.
Oh,
I don't know.
A chain would be great.
Yeah. So here's my message to Gucci Mane, who probably doesn't listen to this, but somebody get it back to him. Take care of our boy. Take care of our boy. It's the fucking right thing to do, Gucci or Mr. Mane, whatever the fuck you go by. Take care of our boy. Take care of all of us. There's 5 of us here. My man Manoli, Moonhead, Quigs, myself, and Spider. We all want 24-inch Gucci links with some big-ass motherfucking stuff on it, right?
I need a Cuban link with the ice cream dangly up the bottom, iced out.
Yeah,
the Bart Simpson skateboarding chain.
Yeah, the skateboard chain. I know you got some jewelry that you have outgrown that you don't want to rock no more. So I'm happy to wear it in your honor. You don't got to melt it down. Just send it to me. I'll DM you my address right after the show. No, in all seriousness, no, I didn't mean to downplay it at all. One of the coolest things in my career, being featured on a Gucci Mane album, let alone the first song. I got wind that this was happening about a week before. One of our great talent bookers at Barstool Sports, Jordan, called me at like 9 a.m. She said, hey, I got a phone call from, I don't know who Gucci Mane's record label is, but they want to use your soundbite. Are you okay with this? And I was like, yeah, obviously, like, please. And then I really kept it under wraps for a week. I sent it to just the immediate group chat and very close people, trustworthy people, as I didn't want it to get leaked. I was hoping that, I really wanted to see this come out and come to fruition on the album. And as it did. So make sure you go listen to GOAT by Gucci Mane on all streaming platforms, wherever you listen to your music. Shout out Gucci. Shout out Mark Martin for one of our...
Another free fucking ad, by the way, Spider.
One of
You're
our
just
most
giving this
viral...
away.
Listen, our most viral clip ever. Gucci, you deserved it, man. I appreciate it. Shout out Mark Martin and Gucci for making all this come to reality. Crazy. It seems like we're living in a, cartoon or something, but a simulation for sure.
Send some stuff to our boy right now, or else we're never going to be
But I
Gucci.
will take the Cuban for sure.
Yeah, right away. Only got one. Got a couple of DMs. One of them that I want to highlight is from a guy named Zach. We speak to Zach every now and again. He had sent me this right after the news of Scott Bloomquist passing hit the tape. He said, "Fucking legend, dude. When you think of short track racing on dirt, Bloomer was the definition. Didn't give a fuck what anyone thought of him. He did it his way, and the beauty was it worked in spades. Huge loss for racing as a whole." I didn't know anything about Scott Bloomquist even after Zach had sent me this. So I had gone into it a little bit, and then obviously with Reddick getting out of the car and immediately referencing Scott's passing, I thought that it was only proper to give our first posthumous Nobody's Cooler to Scott Bloomquist, right? So this is brought to you by Arctic. Arctic's doing something with Dale Jr. Did you know Dale Jr. owns a 300-acre Old West town in North Carolina? We did. It's called Whiskey River, and Arctic Outdoors is inviting 3 grand prize winners and their guests to see it during the Dale Jr. Foundation's 14th annual Driven to Give event. Dinner, drinks, auctions, raffles, and a live performance by Chris Jansen, plus autographed Arctic gear from Dale Jr. himself. If you want to enter now for your chance to win, go to arcticoutdoors.com/NASCAR-sweepstakes. That's arcticoutdoors.com, RTIC outdoors.com/NASCAR-sweepstakes. And while you're at arcticoutdoors.com, you can pick up the best in insulated drinkware, coolers, soft and hard across the board. So nobody's cooler than this guy. I did not know about him. And as I'm learning more about these old school legends, I'm just continuing to be blown away. Scott Bloomquist passed away. He was a legendary late model dirt track racing icon, a.k.a. Black Sunshine, a.k.a. Dirt Tracks Dominator, a.k.a. Voodoo Child. He died at the age of 60 after a small plane he was piloting crashed into a barn on his property in Mooresburg, Tennessee. Moonhead, do you know all about Scott? It was like this one of those guys that you knew about growing up, or is this not something that was in your universe?
I don't know a ton about him, but yeah, I mean, anybody who followed any sort of dirt racing knew who he was. Like he was that good. He won a lot of races, did a lot of cool things. He was an innovator too. He built his chassis, built a lot of fast race cars. One time he went to Eldora and he put a window net on his dirt car, but it was like sealed for aero reasons, and they stopped him in the middle of the race and made him take it off and sent him to the back, and he drove back through the field and won anyway, and talked all this shit in his interview.
Hell yeah.
About how there's no rules against window nets, and he said the show was over when they put me to the back because I was going to win that race by a lap. And,
I'd lap the field, right?
Yeah. So he was just a huge personality, a bad motherfucker, and a legend. Just a legend all around.
He won one race on three wheels, like you had seen. Everything that he did.
That's an all-time clip if you haven't seen it.
I urge you guys maybe to listen to his interview with Dale Jr., because he sat down with him for like an hour and a half. And I don't know who Dale Jr.'s co-host is. The guy does a fantastic job. It's just escaping me at the time. And like Bloomquist was like, what kind of drugs have you guys done? And they were like, no, we're just drinkers. Why? And he's like, I did ecstasy for the first time. Best sex I've ever had. Like he's very open. He's been in trouble for drug possession before. They had found some paraphernalia and stuff like that. He beat some of the raps. He didn't beat some of the other ones. The guy is just 100% interesting from start to finish. And the first thing that Tyler Reddick did was show this guy some props when he got out of his car after winning this weekend. And I don't know how this is, but I went on Wikipedia just to look him up. In the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series career, he ran one race, and somehow his 2013 position is he finished 69th. And then in his ARCA Series career, he ran three races over 1 year, and his best finish in 1991 was 69th. I don't know if people are just fucking with Wikipedia and putting 69s all over Scott's thing, but from what I know about the guy, it seems like it'd be something that he'd be kind of into. It's funny. So this guy's a legend. The more that you can learn about him, the better. Bloomy, fucking Black, what was it again?
Black Sunshine. And the guy was a pilot. You sound like the coolest dude of all time. Like, if God forbid, if I were to die, this would be, on my own plane, I'm flying on my own. This guy was living the life, it sounds like. He had a very, fruitful career in racing, and then he kind of lived life on his own terms outside of the track, which is very admirable for a guy like me. I can take a lot from that. So condolences to the family.
He intimated to Dale that at one point, I don't think he had his pilot license because he never really flew above 500 feet. Like, he just liked to fly his planes over lakes to see if the fish were biting before he'd then go out and fish. Like, I don't know. If you guys are into older NASCAR personalities that you might not have heard about, and we're learning about them just about every week on this show, Scott Bloomquist was the guy, and Scott Bloomquist is with a bullet the first posthumous winner of Nobody's Cooler. Congratulations, and my condolences to his family. What did you guys think of the race this weekend? What you guys think? Let's get to it. Let's get to Michigan. I thought it was a fantastic race. What did you think as far as the quality of racing?
I loved it.
Not the quality of racing. The viewing experience was painful, man. I don't know what the solution is. I think I'm with Jeff Gluck. I understand that TV is king, but at the same time, when like a big portion of our races are impacted by rain week after week after week, it is crazy. It's tough. And even from the name of trying to onboard people as new NASCAR fans, it's exhausting, and I don't really have an answer for them. Jersey Jerry, for example, NASCAR Chicago was in town. I got him so invested. He was ready to go to the race. What happened? It rained, and he had a horrible experience. This past week on Sunday, we're ahead of the Coach Doug stream in the office. I put on NASCAR in the Gambling Cave. We're all watching. Jerry's getting into it. What happens? It rains. Like, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if it's starting the race earlier. I don't know if it's wet weather tires. I don't know what it is. Something needs to be done. Mother Nature's not going anywhere. Rain has been around since the dawn of Earth. We got to figure out something. There needs to be at least some sort of happy medium or a little bit more flexibility when this is in the cards, because it's unfair. It's unfair to the people at Michigan who went and attended this race in real life. The people that work on Mondays that missed the race the following day or couldn't watch on TV for whatever reason. I don't know. There more can be done. I'm not sure explicitly what it is, but there needs to be a better effort to get these races in. I kind of
think what they did was the happy medium of, like, I mean, rain's rain. Like, it's a bitch and there's nothing really you can do about it. But I love when they move it to Mondays. Maybe it's because I can watch it all day on Monday. But
you want to know why we love watching on Mondays? Because we have a sick office that has a movie theater in it.
Don't act like people
30+ people that don't have to do anything else, that can boondoggle and say, "Oh, wait, this sport's happening live right now. You know what? Let me get in." And sure,
but don't act like a large percentage of other people don't just have a job where they have a second monitor up with the NASCAR race on. I know there's some people that have jobs that you're not going to get to watch it, but I don't know. I think moving it to Monday is better than like the way the rain was on Sunday. It was going to just start, stop. Like, maybe you get it off super late in the night. I think moving it to Monday is the happy medium.
Well, let me ask you this, guys, for a question for the poll for the cast here. Would you guys rather have seen a shortened race on Sunday in its entirety, or what we got this week with, racing on both Saturday or Sunday and Monday?
Second option.
I don't know. Like, I wound up having a good experience watching the race on Monday. I think it's a luxury that we do get to do that, to your point. But the only way that they could have got that in, you're saying, was to push it ahead, right? To start it earlier. And I guess they were
which
running up
I don't think
against
is unreasonable.
Yeah, because they lose the TV.
Why is the race starting so late? Especially at a track with no lights. Like, that's what I'm saying when I say more can be done. If you're going to go to a track which doesn't have lights, which I understand some of NASCAR's best tracks don't have lights, that is fine. But you best do your best effort to get the race in. If that means starting 90 minutes early, 60 minutes early, I don't care. And I want the TV networks to be flexible with that. I don't know if that means Steve Phelps got to go in and play hardball or what, but something needs to be done.
Because they're losing viewers anyway when they move it to Monday, right? I mean, from the fans' perspective, the people who go there, again, listen, Quiggs and I have the luxury of sitting on Monday and watching this thing, and I really enjoyed being done with the race and having so much of the day left too. But but I think for people who show up, because that's the heartbreak, you know what I mean? Because they can't come back the next day. And I know you can turn in your tickets. I'd seen something for any race the following season except for Daytona. There was something like that to get your money back if you weren't able to see the race on Sunday and come back on Monday. I don't know what the answer is. I mean, can they just stop going to tracks that don't have lights? It seems that Michigan's in kind of a rural area, so they said it would be impossible for them to put lights up, because then you'd have to light up the parking lot, lights coming in and out of the place. It's a huge, huge undertaking to just put lights up at a track. So that's not the answer for you, Spider, than to just make everyone put up lights?
That's quite literally impossible. From what I understand, and there's people smarter than me, Moonhead, you might be able to confirm this. There are certain tracks that, in rural areas like Talladega, for example, the reason why Dega doesn't have lights is because quite literally the power grid cannot support the infrastructure that would be required to provide said lighting. So I think there's literal logistical restraints, which is back to my point. Whereas, okay, if that's the case where we literally cannot install lights if we wanted them, if we had a blank check, we still can't do it. The next solution is move the race earlier, or at least have the option to do so. God forbid there's weather headed that way, because I mean, to just have your hands tied and then watch rain come in is not acceptable. I will say, well, as much as I'm kind of dumping on them, I do side with Quiggs at least a little bit, because there have been instances, I think maybe the Coke 600 was it, where the no information was relayed to fans. They had an opportunity to just call the race immediately and say, come back tomorrow, or hey, the race is official, we're done. And they kind of, dragged their feet and kept everyone unaware of what was happening. So this was pretty clean in terms of, hey, here's the news, we're going to give it to you hard and fast, which I appreciate. But I still feel as though in the bigger picture, for us to just say, oh, these tracks don't have lights, or, oh, we can't, the race has to start on this time, is just it's lazy. That's the only word I have for it. Like, that's not a good enough answer.
I was thinking this morning, and I think I might have a solution to the light issue. I don't know how this would work, but I was thinking a portable sun, basically, where it's, you get a Goodyear blimp that's just like covered in super powerful LEDs, and that can go anywhere, any sport, any event where they need light, and it just creates basically the effect of a sun in a small area. Boom, $1 million idea.
That was basically like the Hindenburg for like 3 seconds. We just
just light it on fire for a little bit.
Spider historical reference.
So yeah, portable sun, trademarked.
I know you're a history guy, Large.
Yeah. Oh, the humanity. I will tell you that when they were hosting the World Cup in like Qatar or Qatar, however you pronounce it, they were experimenting with creating fake clouds, hovercraft clouds that would then position themselves between the sun and the stadium just to keep some of the heat off these players' backs, because it was like 118 degrees on the pitch. So perhaps they can go the opposite way and somehow harness the power of the sun on some sort of dirigible. That sounds safe. And then fly it over tens of thousands of people.
Sounds great.
I would love to watch it. I'm not sure I'd attend.
The Saudis in the Middle East, I think Dubai literally engineers like fake clouds above their city to provide rain and keep them cool. Yeah. So we need to do some reverse engineering. Yeah, cloud seeding. Thank you, Quiggs. We need to do some reverse engineering. Maybe is there like cloud deleting instead of seeding or something? Because there needs to be a solution here. I'm not sure what it is, but NASCAR's got these teams have some of the smartest engineers in the world working for them. I'm sure there's got to be a better solution. The race itself, though, I didn't mean to detour this whole conversation. The race itself was exciting.
I'm glad you said that. I am glad you said that, because you came on. It seemed like you didn't like the race at all, but it was more the semantics type thing. And I know that NASCAR does need some help with this. We did just give the opinion of a former rocket scientist, aerospace engineer, and
that's now saying build a portable sun.
Is saying
I've fallen off.
Sun. Yeah, so that's it. Moon, do you see anything broken here? What do you think the answer is?
I mean, they schedule these things so far in advance. I don't know why we can't just take the tracks that don't have lights and schedule them for earlier start times just in case, because as much as we'd all love to see every track have lights, I don't think it's possible due to some of the things Spider mentioned, where they're not just lighting the track, they're also having to light the surrounding areas for spectator safety and people coming and going. And even portable lighting setups are expensive and all that. So the mobile sun, I think it could work. I really do.
Portable sun.
Goodyear should back this. The Goodyear portable sun would solve all of our problems.
Golf tournaments, when they go late into the night, boom, portable sun.
Or if we don't go that route, I think a 1 p.m. at latest start time for any tracks that don't have lights should just be be the move unless it's a crazy circumstances and it's a crazy set of circumstances or somewhere it just doesn't rain. But as we've seen with NASCAR, it doesn't really matter where you go. I mean, I was at Vegas one year and it started snowing. So like I just think we need to start earlier if the place don't have lights. And I know it's tough because of the TV stuff, and it's probably going to be really tough in the fall when they're kind of having to try not to go head to head with other things. But I feel like it's the only logical way to go about it, because even losing viewers to other sports is probably better than Monday viewership. I don't know what the numbers are going to be, but I can't imagine they'll be very good.
Yeah, I think the argument against it is that a 1 o'clock start would be a 10 a.m. start for the West Coast viewers. I don't see that being a big issue, though. Like, to me, a 10 a.m. start, that sounds great. Like, I wouldn't mind, having a big fucking breakfast spread put in front of me. Instead of, like, ribs and racing, I would do ribs and bagels or whatever the fuck we do. Like, that's not a... As a matter of fact, the 11 o'clock start yesterday, right? It was 11 o'clock?
Yeah.
That was quite lovely. And then we have a different start this weekend, a Saturday night race, which is very exciting for us also. Denny started on the pole again. That's his 44th career pole. Out of those 44 career poles, do you guys have a guess on how many of those races he's won? How many races has Denny won from 44 career poles? I think that's a good question.
I'm going to go with this as a trick question.
Yeah, same.
And I'll take 0.
It's going to be higher. Oh, really?
Wow.
I don't know. Probably an awful guess.
Quiggs is different today. I think because the DNC's in town. There's something about him. He's a lot more saucier. He insulted Moonhead. He just brought up the idea of creating an artificial sun, and now he's trying to overthink my question and just went, I'll bet 0, Bob, on The Price is Right or something like that. Yeah,
This is what the left does.
It's what the left does. It really does. He's in a rush to get back to fucking Planned Parenthood truck. Go.
All right, let's see what your guesses are.
Quiggs goes 0. Moonhead, what do you say? I'm going to go Spider last.
I would say 4.
Okay.
I would say 4.
44 polls, Spider.
44 polls.
44 career polls.
Super high. I think you guys are both super low. I'm going to say like 18 to 20. I'm going to go 20, final answer.
6. So I just, like, a lot of times you see somebody on a poll and you're like, man, I should have got that bet in beforehand. And that's not necessarily the case. So Denny, 40, I thought that was interesting. He's nowhere near, I think Denny's in the top 15 all time for how many polls he's won, but he'll never catch Richard Petty, who has 123. Joey, pre-race radio, let's take what was ours last week. A little dramatic, no? I kind of liked it, and they made sure they pointed that out.
Sounds like a Disney movie.
Yeah.
That's what he had all week. He had all week to think of something badass to say right there, and he went with that.
No, I like it. I'm with Joey on this one. I don't know. I think that's like get your guys up, run through the, how the football players run through that little like paper or like a brick wall. Like, he's trying to get his locker room up, get his crew up. And to me, I can live with this much more than like, Pawpaw's proud of you, son, or whatever the cringe shit we heard last week was. So I'd much rather this. This is way less cringe. And I can't just shit on Joey the whole episode. So I'll side with Joey on this one.
It's not that bad. What do you think, Quiggs? I'm going to ask you. Let's take what was ours last week.
Yeah, just a little cheesy, like, movie line, like Moon was saying, but. Yeah, I don't know. He had in whatever him talking about his fine or whatever, he threw out the line that he's not a robot like 3 times.
Yeah,
and it was just like I don't know. It felt like he was overdoing the fact that he wasn't a robot. That made me question.
you are the
exactly
robot.
What a robot would say.
Yes,
exactly.
Said like 10 times, I'm not a robot.
I'm Team Joey on this one. I kind of liked it. Let's take what's ours last week. That was like that We Ride at Dawn type shit for me. It kind of got me a little bit of blood flow. Blaney won stage 1 with 11 to go in stage 2. The 22, the 16, and the 38 all blow tires and bring out a caution. Then Larson gets loose after the restart and collects a shitload of other cars. Stage 2 ends under caution. Kyle Busch takes stage 2. That was the first stage win of the year for Kyle Busch and the first stage win of the year for RCR. That's pretty fucking bleak. We haven't spoke about it, but in a week or so, because they seem like they're trending a little bit better, and obviously Austin Dillon is doing some stuff. But I was shocked to see that they hadn't won a stage yet, at least. Multiple restarts in the OT, and Reddick gets a great push from Ty Gibbs. Shout out Ty Gibbs on that one. Holds off William Byron for his second win of the season, double OT. This is my question to you. How much of a fucking bitch is Michael Jordan for not sticking around? You know what I mean? Like, he was there all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and Bubba was making some moves on Sunday. Then all of a sudden he gets the fuck out of Dodge, and the guy who's, he runs for him in 20. You don't stick around for a night if you're Michael Jordan just to see. What the fuck does he have to do that he doesn't stick around to see his guy win the next day? Or am I making too much of it?
I think that explains it right there, Large, what you just said. What the fuck does he have to do? What was Michael Jordan's rich ass going to do in Brooklyn, Michigan after winning the race? There's no celebration there, respectfully. Nothing against Brooklyn, Michigan. Fun place. We went there last year. But a guy like Michael Jordan, if you have every resource on earth, if I'm him, I'm getting on that jet with the team, and we're flying down to like my mansion or whatever, my golf course, whatever one of my properties you pick, and we're going to celebrate. So I think the celebration will happen away from the track, as much as we've seen it in the past when 2311 has won, when MJ has been there, i.e. Talladega, Tyler Reddick's win, which was really cool. But I don't know. Part of me also feels like Michael Jordan, I can't, as much as it would be awesome to see him at the track week after week after week, I don't think that's something that we should, prepare or get used to occurring.
He was there, though, Spider. He was in Michigan. You just got to stick around for 12 hours. And he had a shot. He's obligated.
Me to play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
How many times have we been there? It's rained, and for whatever reason, whether it be travel, whether it be hotels sold out, whether it be we have another production to get back to for the office, and we got to go to summer camp. We've missed finishes before too, so I don't know. I said it before on this show.
Spider, I make $62,000 a year here, right? I'm going to let you guys. I'm just kidding, but we have to get back to work. I realize that people have to. Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, Michael Tyson, they don't have to be back to fucking work the next day. You own a race team, you're in Brooklyn, Michigan and Irish Hills, you fucking stick around. Or you chop her back to a place that idolizes you in Chicago and then chop her back in the fucking morning. What's he, what? I don't know. Michael Jordan, go fuck himself.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Jordan can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, he's on a different level. As long as he's involved in the sport and it, like as he is, I don't need him at the track week after week. If he's going to be a team owner in the sport that we love and his team's going to be consistent winning, I thought that was going to be. If you told me a 2311 car won yesterday, I would have guessed it would have been Bubba. Not Tyler Reddick.
He had two horses in that race.
Yeah,
he legitimately had two live dogs in that race. Honestly, you don't stay for that. That to me, it blows my fucking mind. And okay, if it comes out that Michael Jackson donated a kidney to some orphan and that's what he had to get back to, I take it back. Just like the old guy who did the opening command. But outside of that, shame on you. You're a fucking under for me, 100% Michael. And it's not just because I was a Knicks season ticket holder in the Pat Riley days or anything like that. It's nothing like that. But fuck that guy. You know what I mean? Show some responsibility.
Personal.
Yeah, it does seem a little bit. Did you think that Ty Gibbs was going to do something towards the end there to get his first win? Maybe saw what had gone on the week before, saw that the playoff spot was taken away, but the win was still there. Do you think he was tempted maybe to fucking right rear hook somebody?
Ty Gibbs is almost being too well behaved for me.
It's unbelievable.
I need to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a different kid than what we've all grown to. Well, I guess I should say majority of NASCAR fans have grown to dislike, kind of like the young, reckless Ty Gibbs. And we haven't really seen that from him this year. He's been pretty respectable, clean driver, which I kind of almost don't like. I was kind of rooting for the young, reckless Ty Gibbs to come up and maybe move some people if need be to get his first win, as he's still in pursuit of it. So I don't know. I would kind of like to see Ty Gibbs make a move, especially now that Austin Dillon did something so egregious. I feel like if Ty Gibbs moved like one car for a win, he would kind of have a little bit of a pass. So as long as he doesn't do anything worse than what Austin Dillon did, I think Ty kind of has a an opportunity to apologize to someone after making a little bit of aggressive of a move. And I would like to see that happen. Let's get him in the playoffs.
Yeah, instead he raced clean, and he was actually, Reddick gave him the big shout out right afterwards for the bump. So, congratulations to him for taking the high ground. And you're right, he has been acting like a guy beyond his years, particularly this season. But maybe we want the young punk back a little bit. Maybe we'll see that in the playoffs. Just start wrecking motherfuckers.
We should also talk about that. What got it to go to OT was Truex getting into the wall and that immediate caution when, I don't know. I don't know if people are talking about that a lot, but that didn't really need to be a caution. I'm glad it was.
Was that an overreaction by now? And I know sometimes, like you said, he came off the wall. I didn't know if there was some debris that had come off when he did, but he seemed to have.
They didn't even give it time to see if there was debris. He touched the wall, yellow, which, I don't know. For me, I bet on it. I was glad to see him get stacked up, but that looked like NASCAR felt the need. Like they were like, we should get a caution before the end. And they were like, there's something that's enough for us to throw it.
Okay. I mean, but do you also think they were getting shit from when the three guys blew tires within a couple of seconds of each other? Somebody said maybe they were being just overprotective of the surface. I don't know. Moonhead, why'd they throw that fucking caution?
I think we know. I mean, we saw. Yeah, we know.
Either way, we did get our winner in Tyler Reddick for his second win of the season. So congratulations to him. I think there's a bunch of over-unders that we can give out because it was a very interesting top 12, I would say. So to see like Zane Smith, his second top 10 of the season, he came in P7. It's the third straight top 10 for Daniel Suarez, which makes that actually pretty easy money for a guy like Moonhead, but he was the only one that was able to capitalize on it. We had mentioned Kyle Busch and RCR getting their first stage win, and Kyle Busch actually seemed happy after the race. But I'm going to give out one under if you guys are okay with it. Outside of Joey Logano, Corey LaJoie, just when they spoke to him when he came out of the infield care center, he's like, that's just this season. I drove my whole career never flipping, and I've already flipped onto my hood twice this season. He's the first driver to be on his hood twice in one season since 1993 in Rusty Wallace. So thoughts and prayers to Corey LaJoie. We still don't know where he's going to land next season, but he seems like he's okay after flipping over. It was something to see. All right, so that's it. We're done with Michigan, and we're headed to one of my favorite places on earth this week. Again, it's been a great season with NASCAR so far. And Friday night at 7:30 p.m. on USA is the Wawa 250, which we were at last year. We had a fucking ball at. And then the Coke Zero Sugar 400 from Daytona International Speedway will be on Saturday night, August 24th at 7:30 p.m. on NBC. I think it's a must-watch type thing. The race is known for its close finishes. It has an average margin of victory of .0154 seconds in its last 21 races. Chris Buescher is the defending champion, and Austin Dillon won this thing in 2022. There's nothing left for us to do but to make some picks, and Picking the Tires this week is brought to you by somebody who keeps me looking as good as I do, and that's Vanderhagen. Make the switch from cartridge razor to a safety razor today with Vanderhagen. Safety razors allow you to get a closer, more comfortable shave. The use of one blade razors help prevent nicks and cuts while making your skin feel smoother than ever. And the best part, these blades cost as little as $1 a piece and last anywhere from 3 to 5 shaves. This will save you thousands of dollars over the years compared to the cost of cartridge razors. The blades are ice-tempered. They're stainless steel blades from Germany that are sharp enough to give you the perfect shave, just like me. So if you're ready to step up your shaving game, get the smoothest, closest shave with our single blade and shave butter combo. Say goodbye to nicks and irritation, and hello to shaves that's almost too smooth to handle. I like the way that sounds. Get a shave so smooth, it should come with a warning. Perfectly close, incredibly soft. This is how a real man shave. Check out your local Target and Walmart today to get yourself a Vanderhagen safety razor. And if you're serious about your grooming game, you can follow Vanderhagen on Instagram and stay in the loop with the latest shaving tips, product drops, exclusive giveaways. Whether you're mastering the art of the close shave or just looking to keep it fresh. Join the community, level up your shave, keep your style sharp. Head to Target or Walmart today. Get yourself a Vander Hagen safety razor. All right, picking the tires. Unfortunately, guys, I usually give you guys a shot to go first. I'm not going to do that today because I have a giant gift in this room. I got it today. Pat, the security guard, said, Lord, you got a fucking huge package. I said, who you been talking to, Pat? And it's from Hendrick Motorsports. It's addressed to my government name, so I'm going to see what that is right now. We're going to do a little bit of an unboxing. I already started to take the tape off before we got on.
It's literally the elephant in the room, Large.
It literally is the other elephant in this room. Look at the size of this fucking box.
Manoli, don't be afraid to help him out, man.
No, Manoli, God forbid. All right, so here it is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they sent us one of these bad boys. So, Alex Bowman was in the other day after his win, and he had brought a couple of dogs with him, and we had a good time. It was the first time that we had Alex Bowman on the show, and it was a huge success. So it's signed right there on the hood, as you can see, I believe right there, Alex Bowman. So we got the Ally 48 hood right in here, and that's because sick. Of that, it's made my decision on who I'm betting on this week very easy. I think Alex Bowman right now might be plus 2,000 on the DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm throwing a couple of shekels on my man Alex Bowman. I'm going all Hendrick. I'm going Alex Bowman and Chase Elliott this week at the Coke 0400 down in Daytona. We appreciate Alex coming on the show, obviously, and we appreciate Hendrick Motorsports sending this out to us. It will be displayed proudly inside this office. Thank you so much. And I'm plowing Alex Bowman this weekend along with Chase Elliott. Who do you guys got?
Hey, yo, pause. No, honestly, Alex Bowman officially exonerated. I got to say it on the air now. Yes. But as I said previously, he did a good job with coming in. I appreciate him giving us the time. He did a pizza review. He saved puppies' lives, and now he's giving gifts to our office. So my only request, Large, is you now have 2 NASCAR hoods in that New York office.
At least, yeah.
So I think what I'm going to do is on my next time back over there, I'm going to check that One Bite pizza car hood and bring that to the Chicago office, or maybe the Bowman one. I don't know. Who knows?
You're gonna swap it out? I hear
Bowman one in Chicago. Maybe that should go in the Chicago office. Either way, I think that we could definitely find a wall for that. That is a sick gift. Thank you to Hendrick Motorsports. And in the name of Hendrick Motorsports, I'm gonna give you guys my pick. And my number 1 pick this week is William Byron. William Byron will sweep Daytona this year. He won the Daytona 500. He's been slumping through the middle part of the season, but guess what? Last week he came back, looked like he could have won the race. He got a strong P2 finish, and William Byron's championship season campaign rolls on, and it rolls on with a big win here at Daytona this weekend on Saturday night. I like William Byron. If it's not going to be the 24 car, I got 2 other picks, and their names we both mentioned previously. I like Ty Gibbs. I'm not even sure the price on him right now, but I like Ty Gibbs. William Byron was 16-1. William Byron 16-1. I also, again, I told you last week, I saw Christopher Bell at 18-1 due to the 33% profit boost the great people at DraftKings provided us with. He's at 18-1 right now, currently, before any profit boost on DraftKings. So I'm a little intrigued by Christopher Bell at 18-1, but William Byron 16-1 is my main play. Ty Gibbs, I'm going to sprinkle a little on, who's 22-1. And then I'm only giving you 4 names. So my last guy that I'm going to give, this is a plate track, so 4, it's not that many in the grand scheme of things. Let me find him. Austin Dillon, 35-1.
Yeah.
As I said previously,
real appeal.
As I said previously, Austin Dillon, he's won here before, and he looked good. He literally was the best car 2 weeks ago. So I don't know. RCR I'm a little intrigued by. And I think just for the storylines and chaos, for his playoff eligibility to be taken back, for him to go out and get it himself, RC is going to be given all the resources, hoping that they can get him into the playoffs, especially now that it's kind of been snatched from him, at least in my humble opinion. So, yeah, I like Austin Dillon as a little tiny sprinkle, but it's really those I would say Bell and Byron being my main guy, a little sprinkle on Ty Gibbs for maybe potentially his first ever win, and then a little sprinkle, even less of a sprinkle, on Austin Dillon. and that might be a top 10 play. But I think for the chaos and storylines, I'm taking he has to be on my card. So those are my 4 drivers this week. That's who I got in my stable. Guys, who do you like?
By the way, what would that message look like? Peepaw fucking loves you, bud. Like, you know what I mean? If he comes through, it would be awesome for that team too. I mean, we're obviously
What, for
close to
Joe
Swanee.
Gibbs, you're saying?
No, for if Austin Dillon was to win.
Oh, the post race speech would be unbelievable.
I got two.
If he was like, "There's your appeal, shove it up your ass."
Oh,
We're in
it
the
would be
playoffs.
awesome. I would love, and plus those guys would be so pumped. Like I would be so happy for Swanee, to be quite honest with you. It would just be. I might throw him in as top 5 too. I got to get a piece of that. I apologize, Spider. I'm going to piggyback the shit out of that.
No, I love it.
Go ahead, Quiggs. What do you got?
I have, without knowing what was in that box, my favorite pick this week is Alex Bowman.
Whoa!
I think he just shows up on these super speedways when you least expect
Me too,
him.
at the Daytona 500.
You'll just see there's 10 laps left, and Alex Bowman's in 4th with a shot at it. So love him at plus 2,000. I like Bubba Wallace. He's been fast. He's good on super speedways, and he needs to win.
What's he at, Bubba?
What, points wise or
No. What's
odds-wise?
he at? He's 2 points
plus
below
1,600.
Chastain. Plus 1,600. Okay.
Yeah, so I think he's really going to be gunning for a win. I like Blaney plus 1,200. I think he's been the most consistent on super speedways lately. And then final pick, which I don't have odds for, but Noah Gragson top 10 in his last 4 super speedway races. He's had 2 top 10s. He's plus 3,500 to win, so I would think he'd probably be plus 230 for a top 10.
3 or 4. Yeah.
So those are my 4 picks.
I like him. Moonhead, it's wide open, right?
Yeah.
Who do you like?
I really like Bubba, but I really like the RFK guys going into this. I think Buescher and Keselowski will be good, but honestly, scrolling down, looking at some of the underdogs, I see Justin Haley plus 7,000 and Austin Hill plus 8,000, and I feel like both of those are very solid picks. Obviously, Haley won the rain-delayed race, hasn't done as good as he did in Xfinity on the plate tracks in Cup, and then Austin Hill, he makes the Xfinity field his bitch every time he goes to a super speedway race. So I feel like I'll probably throw something on them, and then I really want to see the top 10s. I'm not smart enough to comment on them until I see them, but I know I'll be. I will probably lose my ass on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and again, like we can't tell you this plate racing. It's the most fun race to bet because it's wide open. Anyone can win. If you look at the past 12 winners of this race, there are no repeats. So, and there are a couple of names in there. You're like, what? So it's going to be a great weekend of racing again. Saturday night, 7:30 on NBC, the Coke 0400. This is Rubbin is Racing. We're going to want you guys to tune in to Camp Barstool, which is going on right now. Spider has got to leave us to go do something in a lake somewhere in Wisconsin. You got to tune into Moon Car on Monday nights if you guys want to do some iRacing. Maybe get my fat ass in a rig at some point. Quiggs, anything you need to pump up?
DNC this week in Chicago.
DNC this week in Chicago.
I'm doing a meet and greet out there.
I was out in Denver last week with Edgar Berlanga, who's fighting Canelo Alvarez on September, I think, 14th. Berlanga saw the tattoo I have of Canelo, and he smacked my back, left a big fucking welt on it. So I'm going out this next week to Tahoe, and I'm going to tell Canelo about it and see what he has to say. So there's a shitload of boxing stuff that I have in the pipeline with John Gotti III coming up, Edgar, Canelo, a bunch of other people. So keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, this is Rubbing is Racing. These are the fellas. Thank you, Manoli, for being on the ones and twos, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you again, Hendrick, for sending us a hood. Enjoy the races.